trophy won. Every wicket you break. Every breakaway you make. Every cross. Every dribble. Every dunk. Every dunk.
Mics are up. Studio is live.
Welcome inside the locker room.
Good morning to you, and thank you for staying with us. You're listening to the smoothest dial on radio. It is called Smooth 98.1. This is the time on a Wednesday morning where we talk sports. The show is called Locker Room 981, and we have Tega here. Good morning, Tega.
Good morning. Why do you call my name like that?
Tega.
Good morning, Lagos. You call my name with some pizzazz.
Teach us how
Like,
to call your name properly.
don't just say, we have Tega here. What kind of announcement is that? I'm going back out. When I come back, you reintroduce me.
Lagos, you're listening to the Locker Room. You can join the conversation, and we have Tega Supreme!
That's more like it. Good morning, Lagos.
Wow.
Good morning, Val. Good morning,
Join
Ayo.
the
Good morning,
conversation. Do not mind the exuberance. The number to send your messages to on WhatsApp is 0809-444-0981.
And you can also send your messages to our Twitter handle at smooth981 and 981FM. Use the hashtag lockerroom981. Also, we're streaming live on YouTube, so say hello to us and also send your comments via that platform.
Okay, so to our first story, the Clippers pulled off the greatest playoff comeback in NBA history, overcoming a 31-point deficit to stun the two-time defending champion Golden State Warriors in Oracle Arena on Monday night in Game 2 of the first round series. Now, Rivers said, "I jokingly call them roaches because you can't kill them. They're not going away. They accept losing, they accept winning, they accept everything. It's just a fun group to coach. They keep fighting."
Yes, and interesting, the LA Clippers, the only LA team I must mention in the playoffs. And it's not the one with all the pomp and pageantry, but it's the one that is there, and that's the one that they have. But it didn't look, when you saw the series, okay, so I couldn't start to talk about the playoffs on Monday because of all the stories we have.
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot going on. But when you see the series and the pairings, you're like, LA Clippers, Golden State Warriors will win this in 4. It's a clean sweep. There's nothing else happening. And it looked like that was what was going to happen after them taking game 1. It looked like game 2 was gone because they were 31 points in the lead. Not 1. 31 points in the lead. And then the LA Clippers, with no all-star player, with no big name player. The biggest name they have right now is Lou Williams, and he's on his way out of the NBA. That's how old he is, or that's how close to retirement he is. And that team out-hustled, and that's what they did, because it was a scrappy win. They out-hustled, outplayed, and outlasted the Golden State Warriors that have Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and think of the rest of the names. So I totally agree with Doc Rivers when he said he calls them roaches because they just refuse to die. Like, even I mean, it looked like
I don't know if I would accept that kind of description for myself.
Oh no, but that's a good description for. I mean, people like Novak Djokovic. That's also a description for them. They just refuse to die. but that's the spirit. Sometimes you have to have that resilience, because when you don't have all those star players, and not one person to turn to, then it's guys like Beverly that never give up and likes all the trash talking that you have to turn to. And those guys don't just talk trash. Sometimes they ball like they're balling in the streets. And that's what they did on yesterday. So it is going to, for me, it's going to now make the series a bit more interesting, because that was not one series I was looking at. I was waiting to see Golden State Warriors at the conference finals.
Right.
That's all the only series I wanted to watch about Golden State Warriors. But now I'm looking at that series and saying, okay, at least there's a fight here, so I can watch it now. But it was a good win. It doesn't mean they're winning the series though, but at least it's giving Golden State Warriors something to think
Why?
about.
No faith?
Wait, faith in who? This kind of wins, you can scrape it out once, but to scrape out 4 wins against the Golden State Warriors, I don't believe it.
Right, let's go on to our next story here. Now, this one, Tega, is a tale of treachery. Amuneke predicts early exit for Eagles, Egypt, Senegal, others. Tanzania's head coach, Emmanuel Amuneke, or let me rephrase that, Tanzania's head coach, Nigerian Emmanuel Amuneke, has predicted that some of the bigger names in African football like Nigeria, Egypt, Ghana, Senegal could make an early exit from June's Africa Cup of Nations. He said, "Don't be surprised if you see some of these so-called big teams packing their bags early in the tournament. I personally don't fear any team, and I know the so-called small teams are going to the Nations Cup with a lot of appetite to try and prove a point. Every team that has qualified for is strong enough, and now it's about how much more work the technical team and players do."
Okay, I hope he has a residence in those
I hope so
countries
too.
because we will collect your passport if you talk anyhow.
Can you imagine?
However, he's right. With small teams like that, it can be a bit tricky when you
Yeah.
don't know your opponents, so you don't know how to approach them. You don't know what they can do. And again, I don't want to sound cliche, but this is football, and literally anything can
Absolutely,
happen. So he's right that if the big guns don't show up, they can get knocked out by a small team, just the same way the Clippers did one on Golden State Warriors in a cup tournament like this. Is easy for small teams with no pedigree, with no history, with no resume to come in and play their best and knock out a big team. So he's right about that. It can happen. It better not happen.
I was going to say, we're going to frame
With
this
Burundi,
comment.
Guinea. Wait, look, Burundi, Guinea, and Madagascar. I said 9 points. I don't care what you put. Anything other than 9 points, we fire again or raw. It's that simple.
All right, so let's talk Super Falcons now that we're done bashing Super Eagles. So Super Falcons now African champions that they are that will contend with Burkina Faso, Niger Republic, and Mali in the group phase of this year's WAFU B women's tournament taking place in Abidjan between 8th and 18th of May rather. They will play in Group B. Now, host nation Cote d'Ivoire, alongside Togo, Senegal, and Ghana, will battle things out in Group A.
Yes. So the draws are out, and Nigeria, well, they can plan towards this, but I dare say there's not going to be much planning for the Waffle Cup. I mean, it's
Why?
because there's Women's World Cup in
So-
June. There's the Men's World Cup in June. July.
Mm.
Look,
Still, we can put our best foot forward.
no. You will concentrate on the things that are important. You prioritize. And what is priority now is Women's World Cup in June and the Men's African Cup of Nations. Wafubi Championship, yes, if we're a country that is very good at planning, we have systems that are functional and all, then I'll say, yes, let's do this, let's push. But Wafubi is a pot on the back burner right now. It's not something, I mean, in as much as you want to use it and look for new talent and all, it's May. The World Cup is in June. Too close for comfort.
That's true. Let's even
They will use
forget
that as
April. We
practice.
have just 1 month, full months to go.
Sort of.
Okay, let's go on to tennis. Novak Djokovic survives Monte Carlo scare with scrappy win over Philipp Kohlschreiber. Now, world number one Djokovic took out his frustration on the rackets in a scrappy performance, but did enough to overcome German Philipp Kohlschreiber in a 6-3, 4-6, 6-4 win in the second round of the Monte Carlo Masters.
Yes,
Cockroach.
yeah, I tell you, it doesn't die. But he did. It always looked a tough one, especially after what Kohlschreiber did in the Masters in the US. And so you come on clay and you play Philipp Kohlschreiber that works hard, not so much skills, has good backhand, but most of his, or the biggest thing about him is that he works hard, he's dogged, and so sometimes those kind of players can frustrate you. And so you can imagine a Novak Djokovic on one end of the court looking at a guy that is refusing to give up on the other end of the court. It's frustrating, and especially when you are the one that usually does it to somebody else. And so Djokovic takes the first set, it's like, okay, I found the rhythm, I know exactly what I'm doing. Then the second set is topsy-turvy, and Philipp Kohlschreiber is breaking him, it seemed, at every service game. The good news, he was able to break back, but at the end of the day, Kohlschreiber was able to win that second set, and then the third set was a bit hard. So he was a bit frustrated about how he played, his rhythm, maybe he's a pace off, and he said recently that maybe it's off-court issues that are distracting him from what he's doing on court. But if you've diagnosed the problem, I wonder why with the break and all, you haven't solved the problem. But let's see how it goes. This was just his first match in the tournament. Maybe the momentum will gather or build up as he goes. The good news is that the closest person to him to snatch that number one ranking is about 5,000 points off.
Okay.
So he's pretty safe. Pretty. now.
Remember, you can send in your messages with your comments about on the stories that we're treating this morning. Send it through WhatsApp to 0809444091. One other way is through Twitter with the hashtag LockerRoom981. Twitter is at Smooth981FM Lagos. We'll take a break. We'll be back after this.
For backup, listening to
We didn't
Smooth
have any
98.1.
message.
I'm sorry?
We didn't
Our
have any
internet
message.
is down.
We-
Can you? Is
we
it on
do.
the phone?
Well, I was talking about Ajax.
Oh, okay. You'd have just read it so that
Sure, Ajax. The
you know.
story is
You know how we can be. One message comes in there.
poor.
Okay, there's one about Coach Amuneke.
Not yet. He's a Nigerian hero. They don't abuse Nigerian heroes like that easily.
Excuse me. People love this ad.
I see.
That's in the pen. I know. It's well done.
No story, no restriction. Recharge and dial *234# to enjoy this offer. Airtel, the smartphone network. He called her Regina. We all called her Regina. He would not have a bath until she had one. He would rather cap to go.
Everybody called her Regina. Why did you separate it? Do you understand me? He called her Regina. We called her Regina. What are you saying?
It's actually about a car.
I know, but I'm just saying. Since everybody calls her Regina, what's the point?
Regina in return served him well until the day a trailer ran into his parked vehicle and acted like a family member was ill. It did not matter that Axel Mansard was paying to have Regina fixed with one of their professional garage partners. Cigar way nicer than Regina. He just wanted his Regina.
Please, let me ask
Ronaldo doesn't know what's up. Consensa.
how do you pronounce it?
Consensa.
Eh? Eh?
Who? The Matthijs Delight?
Matthijs Delight. Okay, it's even Val that's taking that series. Guardiola.
What'd you call it?
Matthijs Delight.
Matthijs Delight. Which one did you pronounce?
Consensa, the Porto coach.
Where is it?
Somewhere there.
Say it again, it might be me.
FC Porto. Consensa.
Okay. Consensal. Yeah, it's me that's taking that. Consensal. Thank you.
That's how I'm calling it until they can pronounce Onojaife. They'll be like, what did you say? Your name is so God. I am so sleepy.
So this one is Matthijs Delight. See how we practice his name, so don't.
They practice with the wrong person. The only language I know how to speak is English. Pere. Unashamedly so. No, you should have let it go through to the striker. Again, if you won the match, I don't know why I'm telling you what to do. What do people take holidays to do?
Holidays.
Like if you take a break, and it's not like you're traveling. What are you doing?
Wake up, sleep, eat,
Be
be
lazy.
merry.
What's a life?
Do not worry. Don't be in traffic. There's so many reasons.
I need that kind of life. Because I don't have the money that my lifestyle requires, so I cannot have those kind of days. Hence, can take break to pay attention to another hustle.
Anybody that is having accreditation, this will give you chance to win great prize for express trip to Tanzania to support the Niger team at the Continental Final. Trophy 5-a-side tournament. Terms and conditions apply. See posters or visit www.
I can't believe that this well-educated guy is making money from standing like that.
Yep. That's what.
That's the biggest disappointment of Nigeria.
No, it's not disappointment. It's creativity.
No, it's disappointment of Nigeria.
No, it's not.
It's not creativity. If the system was functional, you think he can't be funny speaking normally? Because I've heard him speak normally and he's still funny. Even Frank Spencer killed himself. Oh my God, did that just go on YouTube? I can't believe I just said that on YouTube.
Yes, she did.
That's not what I mean. I was trying to make a
That's what she
point.
means. Let me check the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi.
I don't know why. That which one is connected to?
Yeah. I'll just check.
See.
Get to. Do get to. Alright, we're back. Studio.
And you are listening to Smooth Breakfast.
Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel, Smooth 981 FM Lagos. If you type that in the search box, you can hit the subscribe button. You can catch all the updates in sports inside of the locker room. Here with Tega, Ayo, and me, Valentine. This morning, we're taking more stories here. Manchester United rebuild could take years, and that's according to Solskjaer. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has admitted that he faces a rebuilding job at Manchester United that may take years after a humbling Champions League exit to Barcelona. His words, "We know there's work to be done. I've said all along, this isn't going to change overnight, and the next few years are going to be massive to get to the level of Barcelona." He continues, we're on with the job, and we've spoken to the players about it as well. We need to create an environment of top world-class attitude every single day. We've got a lot of good players to work with, but as I've said, we have a rebuilding job. It started with coaches, players, and of course, 1 or 2 additions in the summer.
This sounds like something one Portuguese said. Only that guy was Portuguese, so the accent was different. But this sounds exactly like the guy. What happened to that? I can't remember what happened to that guy, but yeah, it sounds very familiar. And so when you tell people that this Manchester United team is not the team that you can brag about, no, you can't change this team by smiling a lot. I remember one pundit coming to say that even the tea coffee girl is a lot happier now, and it's making the club better because this guy smiles. I'm like, where is the tea coffee girl today?
First of all, I'm out of concern. I want to ask you to be sure where you're going to today and make sure that in the meetings you're sitting in, you don't have Man U fans there.
No, it's just ridiculous because one guy had said it. I need better players. Some people said no, it's because you don't smile, because you shout at them, so their confidence is low. Look, if you give me £80,000 a week, you can shout at me all you want. My confidence will be in my bank account. I don't care what you say. Players with Nancy players, oh, he destroyed their confidence because he said they didn't do well. What nonsense. Absolute rubbish. And now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has come out to say we need to build years, not one transfer window, not 2 transfer windows.
These things take time.
Several years. Which is what one other coach was saying. But again, they say he was too arrogant in his presentation, but the truth is the truth. And so the class showed yesterday. And I have to say again, Barcelona hasn't played the best of their football you've seen.
That's what you said the last time.
That's the Barcelona that came into the match. I mean, this is a game that the first chance went to Marcus Rashford, and the second chance also went to Manchester United, I think, before Messi almost took out Ashley Young's ankle and then went on to score that goal. But this is so it was not a peak moment Barcelona. It's a Barcelona that understood that they needed to win and went on to get the results effectively. Yes, they have that wizard that plays there, but the team as a whole is not performing more than maybe 65% if you ask me, the whole Barcelona team, and they still were able to rubbish this Manchester United side that has played very well away in the UEFA Champions League, mind you. So when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says they need to rebuild, I totally agree with him, and I'm not disputing that fact. My point is, another coach was fired for even suggesting that his guys were not good enough. They said he was killing the team spirit. Well, how's your team spirit now?
He's speaking his truth, though.
All right, we have a number of comments. We're going to get to you very soon. Tega, they're coming for you. All right, Guardiola, Tottenham, Manchester United, absolute finals. Pep Guardiola said Manchester City's next 3 matches will go a long way to defining their season as they chase an unprecedented quadruple. Now, if we don't win these games, we will be out of 2 competitions, he told the news conference. They are absolute finals for us. I've had that feeling from weeks ago. Many times I played in the semi-finals and quarterfinals, and every time I played away, the atmosphere was really incredible. He added, they support their local teams.
Yes, he's right. This week is a very interesting week for Manchester City, chasing trophies on three more fronts because they've won one. And to think that their games are really big. So they play Tottenham today, in the UCL. Then they play Tottenham on Saturday for the Premier League.
Really?
Yes, so they have to defend their UCL title against Tottenham this week, and then on Saturday fight Tottenham again for EPL. Very
I'm
tough.
sure Tottenham won't want to lose
Yeah,
twice.
and then their next match is against Manchester United.
Oh,
It's like,
gosh. You did mention that they had very tough
yeah,
matches.
very tough matches, and they're just close together. So it's not enough recovery time to face those opponents. A team like Manchester United would have had more rest period than at least Tottenham would have the same amount of workload. But a team like Manchester United would have had more rest period. So you're talking about the strength and depth of the squad, the desire and the urgency to fight, and the or mentality to keep up that competitive spirit throughout all those days. It's just a lot to ask a team, but I'm glad that he knows the task at hand, and if he's going to push for big things, then he's going to have to try and achieve those big things by suffering a lot. So today will be important for him, and I think you just take it one game at a time. Sweet Jesus, just win the UCL today. You're playing at home. Hopefully your crowd comes, and hopefully the crowd makes noise for him, so that he gets that 12th man in the crowd supporting him against Tottenham, because they have a deficit there. But he also knows that he has to go on Saturday afternoon and do that job, because Liverpool is waiting for you to drop any point. If you even imagine that you are dropping a point, Liverpool will be all over them like white on rice. So they need to do that, and it's important that he does that. I think, I don't know, I think he will drop points in one of the two, either today or on Saturday.
I hope not.
Emma from Akoka says, Olua Pogba, Ayinde Marshall, Indiana Jones, and David the Basket that cannot even save a PDF file, all know how to play. Only in the fruit juice advert, he says. Alexa, please play me Messi said, no, United, I will not let you go. This UCL will not slip away. I can't continue singing that song.
This is not 1999.
Emma, it's just so
Long
not
Emma.
fair. So not fair. And Shei says, Tega, that Ajax team is a beast. Ajax eliminated Ronaldo's former and present team. It says Valentine, but did Manchester United think they would have won when Messi is still alive? Even if Messi were injured, Barca will still win. Tega, my Chelsea is winning this Europa. He wants you. Which leaves us with
I don't know what planet she.
I don't know. Well, he's here.
Planet Earth.
That's for sure. Now, Ajax captain Matthijs Delight says that underdogs' run to the Champions League semi-finals have left him speechless. This is how he said it. He said it's bizarre. It's not normal. I have no words for it. As according to the 19-year-old, he continues to say, we've shown once again that we're very strong and that we can make it difficult for large teams.
Yes, and that's so true. Against Real Madrid, it looked like, okay, this was a team in crisis. And so Ajax were able to take advantage of that crisis and knock out Real Madrid. But what would you say about a team like Juventus? I mean, this team has made it deep into the UEFA Champions League, got into the finals. They said, okay, maybe we were looking for that guy that would get us goals, and then they spent so much money and got in Cristiano Ronaldo, and he looked good for the money, because when they were down against Atletico Madrid, he dragged them back in with 3 goals, and they were through to the next round. So Ajax looked, and I mean, a certain victory for Juventus, only for them to go away and draw 1-1 and then come and lose the game. It's not just that it wasn't a lucky win, it was the boldness with which Ajax played in Turin. I mean, you are in Italy, for crying out loud. This is Juventus' home ground. The nerve of you to dominate especially in the second half, and create many chances. It could have been more than 2 goals. Yeah, it's Szczesny that saved Juventus. Well, he was doing his job. He's the goalkeeper. He's supposed to keep things out. So, but he did a brilliant job for Ajax not to go forward. So I'm looking at this Ajax team now, and it looked like a sweet draw when Juventus pulled them. Now they're going to face either one of Manchester United or Tottenham. I'm thinking those teams don't want to be playing against them. I think if it's Manchester City that makes it through against Ajax, then Manchester City can defeat Ajax. And because they have a lot of X factors, and again, because Pep Guardiola knows the coach,
Yes.
the coach worked, should I say, under him or with him at Bayern Munich. So I think that's a slight advantage. But as it looks right now, you underestimate this Ajax team at your own risk, because they can hurt you.
All right, let's take a break, Lagos. You're tuned in to Smooth 98.1. When we come back, we'll take more of your messages and share some of the stories here.
Yeah, we almost made it. So we have just one story to go. But we have so many
No,
messages.
we are reading messages.
Yeah.
We'll just talk about Liverpool playing Porto. It's a done deal, but
Why? Who's going to win? Liverpool?
Liverpool has already won the first leg 2-0.
Oh, okay.
That's what I mean.
And was that away, home or away?
Home. But it's Porto. So you not read the full story. It seems a done deal.
In fact, I would be truly lucky when I'm one of the 5 lucky super fans.
It seems a done deal. That's what I would say. And then we go on to the comments, because comments are plenty.
I will even meet Samuel Eto'o. Oh, really? Yeah. How can I join? It's very simple. Just enjoy a bottle of
So you won't see that
I'm
coming.
telling you.
You just,
It always catches me by surprise.
I was already thinking, oh, these people are just for me. Yeah, surprise. Yeah,
It's very simple.
to support the Niger team at the Continental Final. Trophy 5-a-side.
Hey God, give me sport. Unlike the rest of UK, Man United are already out of Europe. What manner of nonsense is this?
Your party last night was dope.
For my new business.
I have a solution for you. Fair Money will loan you the money you need.
Fair money?
Yeah, Fair Money give loans for school fees, for side hustle, or any emergency.
Oh,
Fair Money
sorry.
is that
I just need
financial
to
partner
scam
that helps you
things
smash
or
all your
Sorry.
goals.
How do I go about
You
it?
go hunger.
Go on Google Play Store,
No,
download
no,
Fair
no,
Money app,
that's
load
fine.
collateral, or sign plenty
Oh, me
bonus.
say one, no,
Just
I
got
don't.
that in less than 5 minutes.
Just visit fairmoney.ng for more info.
Family, they're the ones whose laughter brightens up our world. Whoever you
Yeah.
are, you're welcome to join the Samsung Galaxy A series family, where you'll find the ideal smartphone with bigger, brighter infinity display.
Meet Galaxy A10, the super affordable smartie. You can't say no to its large 6.2 Infinity P display, which keeps you wrapped up in movies, gaming, social media, and other cool stuff. Store much more with a 32GB memory space, and keep all your files safe with face recognition feature. Meet Galaxy A20, the machine. It's got a highly immersive 6.4 Infinity
Oh yeah, difference between email and Gmail.
camera that captures crisp, clear, wide-angle shots.
Guys, the Samsung
Gmail is
Galaxy
a form of
A10
email.
It's just them funkifying Google more.
Yeah, it's like the difference between Yahoo and Gmail, but there's still a difference now.
Yeah, I want Gmail.
Uh-uh.
I can understand, but
And that's what it is. It's not like
Enter party, plenty food they go round, but now only small chops reach you, even though you wear shit. Chai, that thing they
Yeah.
pay, or you don't pay all your NEPA bill, see don't they wait, but as they bring everybody light, now only you they forget. Chai, that thing they pay. When credit full your phone, but you don't fit take a call as you like. Chai, that thing they
did you hear that?
Airtel talk more, you get
Email is that you're sending the mail with electricity. Gmail is that you're sending the mail with
let's
generator.
go back.
To enjoy this offer,
Studio. Max out.
smartphone network.
My name is Adenike, actor, and you're listening to Smooth 98. Keep listening.
That's right. It's a Love Music, Love Life radio station now. We're talking sports inside of the locker room. We have a few of your messages here on WhatsApp.
Yes, Jacob from Apapa says Ole Gunnar will be gone before this time next season.
Well,
You think so?
They'll give him time now.
Yeah,
he
Ghana
knows
for
the
life.
United way.
Right. Chimobi Victor from Alaba International says this Ajax team are unstoppable. Even if they didn't win the trophy, they have surely exceeded their expectation, knocking out Real Madrid and Juventus team with Cristiano Ronaldo, who's the best player in the world, he says.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Well, that's it. Well, Messi progresses as Ronaldo exits, which means Messi is winning the Champions League.
That's coming from who?
Story.
Please add your names to your
Add your
messages so we
names,
can take
please.
them.
It's from Tunde.
Tunde, all right, thank you. Tunji says they said Barcelona was the least likely to qualify. What happened yesterday? Ronaldo is out, but going back to Georgina, who is Pogba going back to?
All right, Dozier here says, "Hi people, my crystal ball says Allegri will be fired by the end of this season because he's the king of the Italian league, but doesn't have the secret formula of UCL. Mourinho, start warming up for Juve's job because they'll give it to you."
Okay. And then we have Sheriff Oluwaleke Akimbi sending this one. It says the overdependence on Cristiano Ronaldo cost Juve place in the Champions League semi-finals. People forget that this Ajax team is as former champions and should be taken seriously. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, Sheriff. Big E from Ketu says, "When I was telling some people that Barca will beat Man U home and away, they thought I was speaking parables. Now you see it in HD. Man U hurt Messi in the first leg and he didn't score. In the second leg, he showed them why they call him an unstoppable GOAT.
Wow.
However, Ajax is a force to reckon with. They play street football just like France at the World Cup."
And then we have this one from Ahima Daniel. He says, good morning from Ikotun. He says, Ajax went around looking for Ronaldo from Madrid to Juventus.
All right, being your hand here says, "Hi, Ayan Val, Tega. Our team spirit is good. Barca is just a better team right now. And yes, it will take a lot of building for Man United and we would get there."
And that is the final message for this morning. Thank you very much for joining us and for sending these messages through WhatsApp. We'll continue with our programming at 9 o'clock for a very interesting conversation with a few guests in the studio for a Lagos Talk special. But special thanks to Tega, who stepped in this morning as always. Tega Supreme. That's her handle on Twitter.
Yeah. Follow me.
And you can check out the updates on Ladies in Sports at LIS International. Ayo and me, we're still here.
We're still here. We have a Lagos Talk special in 15 minutes. Well, 14 now. So please stay tuned. We're talking young people, unemployment, volunteering, social action, business.